David Hume's life is a fascinating case study in the psychology of human nature. His groundbreaking philosophical ideas, which still influence modern thought, were shaped by his own struggles with mental health and personal relationships. Born in 1711 in Edinburgh, Scotland, Hume was the second of three children to Joseph Home, a lawyer, and Catherine Falconer. His family's modest means and his father's early death when David was just 2 years old meant that his mother took on the responsibility of raising him and his siblings. This maternal influence would later be reflected in Hume's empathetic and nuanced understanding of human nature. Hume's education began at the University of Edinburgh, where he studied law, literature, and philosophy. However, it was during his time at the university that he developed a passion for the works of ancient Greek philosophers, particularly Cicero and Aristotle. His fascination with their ideas on human nature, morality, and the nature of reality laid the groundwork for his future philosophical endeavors. As my colleagues in the field often note, Hume's eclectic reading habits and intellectual curiosity were characteristic of his boundless enthusiasm for learning. One of the most significant influences on Hume's intellectual development was his relationship with his brother, John Home. John, who was studying law at the time, encouraged David to explore the works of modern philosophers like René Descartes and John Locke. These thinkers' ideas on empiricism, skepticism, and the role of reason in understanding human experience would later become central to Hume's own philosophical framework. I've often found that the dynamics between siblings can have a profound impact on one's intellectual and emotional growth, and Hume's relationship with his brother is a compelling example of this. As Hume delved deeper into his studies, he became increasingly drawn to the works of Isaac Newton, whose groundbreaking work in physics had revolutionized the scientific community. Hume saw parallels between Newton's emphasis on observation, experimentation, and empirical evidence in the natural sciences and his own desire to apply similar principles to the study of human nature. This intersection of philosophy and science would become a hallmark of Hume's approach, as he sought to develop a more nuanced understanding of human consciousness and behavior. My experience with clients has shown me that this interdisciplinary approach can be incredibly powerful in shedding light on the complexities of the human mind. As Hume's intellectual curiosity continued to grow, he became increasingly fascinated with the concept of skepticism, particularly in relation to human knowledge and understanding. His readings of Descartes and Locke had sparked a deep interest in the nature of reality and how we perceive it. He began to question the notion of absolute truth, instead proposing that our understanding of the world is filtered through our senses and experiences. This line of thinking would eventually lead him to develop his famous concept of empiricism, which posits that knowledge comes from experience and observation rather than innate ideas or reason alone. During this period, Hume's relationship with his mother Catherine played a significant role in shaping his emotional and intellectual development. Her influence can be seen in his later writings on the importance of empathy and compassion in human relationships. My experience with clients has shown me that the bond between a mother and child can have a profound impact on one's ability to form healthy attachments and navigate complex social dynamics. Hume's own experiences with his mother likely contributed to his nuanced understanding of human nature, which would become a hallmark of his philosophical approach. As Hume delved deeper into his studies, he became acquainted with the works of other prominent thinkers, including the French philosopher Pierre Bayle. Bayle's skepticism and critique of dogmatic thinking resonated deeply with Hume, who saw parallels between Bayle's ideas and his own growing skepticism about the nature of reality. This exposure to diverse philosophical perspectives broadened Hume's intellectual horizons, allowing him to develop a more comprehensive understanding of the complexities of human knowledge and experience. Hume's educational journey took a significant turn when he enrolled in the University of Edinburgh's Faculty of Advocates, where he studied law and began to develop his skills as a writer and thinker. Although he never pursued a career in law, this period marked an important milestone in his intellectual development, as he honed his critical thinking skills and learned to articulate complex ideas with clarity and precision. My colleagues in the field often note that Hume's training in law and philosophy provided him with a unique perspective on human nature, allowing him to approach complex problems from multiple angles. As Hume's intellectual pursuits continued to evolve, he became increasingly fascinated with the concept of human nature, particularly in relation to morality and ethics. His readings of ancient Greek philosophers, such as Aristotle and Epicurus, had sparked a deep interest in the role of emotions and reason in shaping human behavior. He began to question the notion that humans are solely driven by rational self-interest, instead proposing that our moral principles are rooted in sentiment and emotional experience. One of the most significant influences on Hume's thoughts on morality was his relationship with the French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Although their friendship was marked by periods of intense intellectual debate, Rousseau's emphasis on the importance of emotions and compassion in human relationships resonated deeply with Hume. He saw parallels between Rousseau's ideas and his own growing conviction that moral principles are not derived from reason alone, but rather from a complex interplay of emotional and rational faculties. Hume's most famous work, A Treatise of Human Nature, is a testament to his groundbreaking thinking on the nature of human consciousness and behavior. In it, he presents a comprehensive theory of human nature, one that emphasizes the role of emotions, habits, and experiences in shaping our perceptions, beliefs, and actions. He argues that our understanding of the world is not based on abstract reasoning or innate ideas, but rather on our concrete experiences and observations. A key concept in Hume's theory is the idea of sympathy, which refers to our ability to imagine ourselves in another person's shoes and share their feelings. He saw sympathy as a fundamental component of human nature, one that allows us to form connections with others and develop moral principles. Hume's thoughts on morality and human nature were not without controversy, however. Many of his contemporaries criticized his emphasis on emotions and sentiment, arguing that it undermined the role of reason in shaping moral principles. Others saw his theory as too relativistic, arguing that it failed to provide a clear and objective basis for moral judgment. Despite these criticisms, Hume's work remains a seminal contribution to the field of philosophy, one that continues to influence thinkers to this day. As Hume's reputation as a philosopher grew, so did his circle of acquaintances and friends. He became a regular at the salon of the wealthy and influential Lady Mary Wortley Montagu, where he engaged in lively debates and discussions with other prominent thinkers of the time. His relationships with these individuals, including the likes of Adam Smith and Rousseau, played a significant role in shaping his ideas and refining his theories. Through his interactions with these contemporaries, Hume was able to test and refine his ideas, engaging in intense intellectual debates and discussions that helped him to clarify and develop his thoughts. His correspondence with Rousseau, in particular, provides valuable insights into the evolution of his thinking on morality and human nature, revealing a complex and nuanced individual who was deeply committed to understanding the human condition. As Hume continued to explore the complexities of human nature, he became increasingly interested in the role of history and culture in shaping our moral principles. He saw that different cultures and historical periods had given rise to distinct moral systems, each with its own unique characteristics and values. This realization led him to question the notion of a universal moral code, instead proposing that moral principles are relative to the cultural and historical context in which they arise. Hume's thoughts on morality and culture were influenced by his readings of the ancient Greek historian Thucydides, who had emphasized the role of cultural and historical context in shaping human behavior. He saw that Thucydides' ideas on the importance of understanding the cultural and historical context of human actions could be applied to the study of morality, allowing us to better comprehend the complex and nuanced nature of human moral principles. As Hume delved deeper into the complexities of human nature, he became fascinated by the role of passions and emotions in shaping our moral principles. He argued that reason is merely a slave to the passions, serving only to facilitate the attainment of our desires and interests. This idea was revolutionary for its time, as many philosophers believed that reason should be the dominant force in guiding human behavior. One of the key concepts that Hume developed to explain the role of emotions in morality was the idea of moral sentiments. He believed that our moral principles are rooted in feelings such as sympathy, benevolence, and compassion, which arise from our natural tendency to identify with the experiences and perspectives of others. Through his theory of moral sentiments, Hume provided a nuanced explanation of how we form moral judgments and develop a sense of right and wrong. Hume's thoughts on morality were also influenced by his study of human history and culture. He was particularly interested in the ways that different societies and historical periods had developed unique moral systems, each with its own distinct values and principles. In his essay of The Standard of Taste, Hume explored the role of culture and history in shaping our aesthetic and moral judgments. He argued that our tastes and preferences are not absolute or universal, but rather are shaped by our individual experiences, cultural background, and historical context. This idea has had a profound influence on the development of modern philosophical thought, particularly in the areas of ethics, aesthetics, and cultural theory. Hume's relationships with his contemporaries continued to play an important role in shaping his ideas and refining his theories. His friendship with Adam Smith, for example, led to a series of intense debates and discussions about the nature of morality and human behavior. Smith's concept of the invisible hand, which describes how individual self-interest can lead to socially beneficial outcomes, was influenced by Hume's ideas about the role of passions and emotions in shaping human behavior. As Hume's reputation as a philosopher grew, he became a sought-after guest at the salons and social gatherings of Edinburgh's intellectual elite. His conversations with other prominent thinkers of the time, including the likes of James Boswell and William Robertson, helped to clarify and develop his thoughts on morality, history, and human nature. Despite his growing reputation as a philosopher, Hume's personal life remained marked by simplicity and modesty. He never married, preferring instead to devote himself to his studies and writings. His relationships with others were characterized by warmth, humor, and intellectual curiosity, and he was widely admired for his kindness, generosity, and lack of pretension. His groundbreaking ideas on the role of emotions, passions, and cultural context in shaping our moral principles continue to influence contemporary thought, offering a nuanced and empathetic perspective on the human condition. As Hume so eloquently put it, reason is, and ought only to be, the slave of the passions, reminding us that our emotions and desires are the driving forces behind our actions. With this poignant reflection, we bid farewell to the fascinating story of David Hume, a true pioneer in the realm of psychological thought. That's all for today's Psych with Sigmund. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.